How has it only been 2 weeks? How has it only been 2 weeks? Oh my God, how has it only been 2 weeks? I feel like this has been my whole life forever. I don't even know what day it is. Aliens are real. They appointed a guy with the Nazi tattoo who was a Fox News host to be the Secretary of Defense. You guys, everything is a lot. Everything is just a lot right now. Welcome to another episode of the Choose Violence podcast, a podcast for feminine rage. I'm your host, Ishpal, and I am fucking exhausted. This is my third or fourth time trying to record this podcast, and I am so drained from the events of this past week that I run out of the fuel and the capacity every single time. Holy fuck. Where do I begin? Trump's insane cabinet picks, Kamala's never-ending mother-effing Easter eggs, the fact that for so long everyone's been talking about how Kamala isn't qualified, which makes absolutely no fucking sense, because one, she is, two, their guy's fucking not. And then now we have the world's most unqualified group of gangsters and idiots and sexual offenders being nominated to the cabinet. I am starting to feel insane. I'm on my period this week. Pluto just moved out of Capricorn and into Aquarius, if you know, you know, which has been very destabilizing. And Mercury is going into retrograde next week. So everything's on fire. The world sucks. No one cares about your rights. Everyone hates you. And I'm fucking furious. Oh, there we go. There, we found it. We found the rage. There we go. Okay, the Easter eggs. I keep wanting to talk about Kamala's Easter eggs, and they make me so intellectually exhausted and pissed off that I just run out of fuel instantaneously. I am convinced at this point she is working on stuff behind the scenes, so that gives me a little bit of hope. But it's just bitch, tell me what the fuck's going on, because now you're filling me with anxiety because I know you need money to do a recount, but the way you're asking for the money is through cryptic ass emails. And it's first of all, who's checking their emails right now? Personally, my email is so inundated with Black Friday emails in preparation of next week. I'm not seeing any fucking election contribution shit coming through. And it's also bitch, you lost and conceded and then ghosted everyone for the last 2 weeks. Oh my God. How has it only been 2 weeks? How has it only been 2 weeks? Oh my God. How has it only been 2 weeks? I feel like this has been my whole life forever. I feel like it's been forever, you guys. It's been 2 weeks since they announced Trump won the election. I think that's math, right? 21 minus 6, something like that. 22, it's the 22nd. I don't even know what day it is. Aliens are real. In the last week, Matt Gaetz was appointed and then rescinded his appointment to U.S. Attorney General, which makes no sense. They appointed a guy with the Nazi tattoo who was a Fox News host to be the Secretary of Defense. They went from Lauren Boebert, the lady who got finger banged at Beetlejuice and got kicked out for vaping, who got her GED 3 months before she was elected to congressional office. They were going to make her Secretary of Education. And then everyone was like, JK, no, she's not. It's going to be Linda McMahon, I think her name is, the wife of Ed McMahon, the guy who owns the WWE. And not only is that fucking insane and makes no sense, then I found out that she was involved in the Ring Boy scandal in the late 90s or early 2000s, which basically she facilitated the abuse of a bunch of underage boys by the WWE announcer for years. They would hire ring boys to set up and break down and help with whatever the fuck, and they were always teenage boys, and two of the announcers would just sexually abuse all of them in the fucking locker room, to the one of the things specifically, which I don't know why I'm telling you this, but it haunts my dreams, so now it must haunt yours as well. I'm so sorry, suffer in solidarity. But he used to make teenage boys rub their feet on his dick. And she covered that up. And now they started another lawsuit about it. And I'm this just gets crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier. The more I dig, the more I'm just he is trying to exhaust us. This is a tactic, right? This is why at the end of every episode, if you guys ever make it that far, I don't know, I say, take care of yourselves, rest, put away your phone, which I don't do, but maybe need to start doing. Because this is a tactic to just exhaust us to the point of complete, not even complacency, maybe despair, just exhaust us so we can't fight back. And eventually we just give in, exhaust us to the point of submission. That's the word I'm looking for. What the fuck? Oh, and then Oh, and then it just keeps getting worse. And it's so upsetting. Like, my Botox, it shouldn't be done yet, but like my face is already starting to move again because I'm constantly just like, what the fuck? This is my permanent face now. And it's going to cost me so much in Botox. And my girl is pregnant and unfortunately has baby brain. Fucked up my chin filler. I don't know if you can tell. Don't judge me getting chin filler. I was born without one and I wanted to make one. And then she made it all lumpy. And now because she has baby brain, which I hate is a real thing, but apparently women lose like a third of their gray matter and it gets replaced with white matter or the opposite. So you can take better care of the baby. And so it does make us not dumber, but a little bit more like, blurp, blurp. And last time I went in for Botox, she just started fucking putting it in random places. Like, I've never put it around my eyes. She put it around my eyes. Now my cheeks are going weird when I smile and I don't know what's going on. And then even after that, now she's going on maternity leave and I don't know who's going to do my Botox and I don't know who's going to fix this chin filler. I don't have the money for it. What is this random little point? You guys, everything is a lot. Everything is just a lot right now. Everything is so much. And then I was like Googling, aka ChatGPTing before this episode to find out more about Trump's cabinet picks to be like, what the fuck is going on? Because I was going to go on this whole tirade of like, oh, they said Kamala wasn't qualified. Let's go through one by one to show how unqualified all of these people are. And my brain broke. My brain shattered. My brain is no more. It is goo. My brain is a puddle of goo after looking into not only how unqualified they are, not only all the scandals they've been caught up with, but the number of them involved in sexual assault allegations in one way or another. Like, Matt Gaetz stepped down from his appointment to Attorney General because either the New York Times leaked his Venmo transaction history where he paid 10 grand to two girls over a few years to like attend sex parties and do drugs with him, which, I mean, I don't know if that's because that's sex trafficking or because he got exposed for being a cheap bitch for paying two girls $5,000 each over several years because he couldn't find anybody who wanted to fuck him or do drugs and party with him. Like, sorry, most of the time, all you need to get a teenage girl to come to a party is drugs. Bad take, but true. Normally, if I was in college and someone's like, we have really good drugs, I'd be like, I'll come. Wouldn't fuck anybody because I was a virgin until I was a million years old. But anyways, and then a bunch of hackers got a bunch of evidence from the court system and we're going to leak that. And the thing that put him over the edge was like, hey, we just got evidence that there was a second 17-year-old that provided testimony to the House Ethics Committee. And he was like, 45 minutes later, he dropped out. 45 minutes later, he dropped out. And then now they just released the police report for sexual assault allegations against Pete Hegseth, who apparently, like, I mean, really, trigger warning if you go read it, but like, fucked up police report. And like, you know, if like she went to the hospital and they called the police and then the police filed a police report. Do you know how fucked up a situation has to be for a girl to be assaulted and the police are like, we need to do something about this? It was bad. It wasn't good. He like drugged her and like prevented her from like leaving the room and like stole her phone. And he's like, I was cleared of all charges. And it's like, okay, so was Brock Turner. That doesn't mean you're a good guy. And so that's happening. There's the fucking McMahon lady that's happening. And the craziest part is it seems like they're not going to do recess appointments, which if you don't know what that is, basically if the Senate goes on like a vacation as a group, as a collective for more than 10 days, then the president can basically stick whoever he wants into these cabinet appointments without any congressional approval. Because normally they have to go through hearings, just like you see the confirmation hearings for the Supreme Court. Trump is trying to bypass that because he's picking legitimate psychos to be his cabinet appointees to just flex on everyone and be like, oh, I can do literally whatever the fuck I want. So it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So we are going to have confirmation hearings, and the confirmation hearings are going to be such a goddamn motherfucking circus. And they're going to be so focused on trying to take out these big psychos that the little psychos are probably still going to slip in. Case in point, Kristi Noem, who they want to make head of the Department of Homeland Security, which is like one of the most important departments in our entire government, if you don't know. And she's like a governor or senator from fucking North Dakota that has a population of 5 people who deployed their National Guard to the Mexican border on the other side of the country to like impress Trump. And then there was a huge natural disaster in the area and like the 5 people lived in North Dakota all died because their National Guard was somewhere else. Okay, that's not even the crazy part. This lady will probably slip into the cabinet because what she did was remarkably normal compared to the rest of these psychos. This is the craziest story I've ever told out loud. It's crazier than the other things I've had, which just says so much. Kristi Noem killed her dog. I'm just going to say it up front. Kristi Noem shot a puppy and a goat in the same fucking day. Okay? She had a 14-month-old puppy who she took pheasant hunting with her older dogs so it would learn how to behave. And she said, and I quote, this is from her book. She wrote about this in her book. This isn't something that anyone covered. She wrote about it in her book to show the American people that she doesn't mind getting her hands dirty. She said that she wanted to take the dog out with the older dog so she could train him to go pheasant hunting. Whatever. Who gets a puppy just for that? I don't know. But anyways, so she took this puppy out pheasant hunting and said that Cricket went out of her mind with excitement chasing all those birds and having the time of her life. So she shot her. She shot the puppy for being a puppy. Apparently it also ate some of her neighbor's chickens, which I don't know, train your dog. I don't know, how about train your dog instead of taking it out with your other dogs hunting and be like, this'll work. So killed a couple chickens, but basically she said it was untrainable and she never liked the dog anyways and that it was a menace. So she took it to a gravel pit on her property and then shot it dead. And then her kids came home from school and they're like, where's Cricket? And she was like, Mommy killed Cricket. Cricket's dead. And then later that day, she was like, you know what? I'm feeling murderous. So there was an uncastrated goat on her property because I guess she owns a farm because it's fucking North Dakota. And what else are you going to do there? No offense to anyone from North Dakota, but like if you're listening to this podcast and you're from North Dakota, you fucking get it. And you're not going to judge me for saying that. So there was a goat. Oh my God, I'm just going to get the quote for this one too. She said she also killed a male goat that was nasty and mean and smelled disgusting and musky and rancid and loved to chase her and her children, knocking down her children and ruining their clothes. So she also killed the goat in the gravel pit, although apparently it took 2 shots. I'm sorry, how the fuck do you expect a goat to smell? I'm sorry, whose responsibility was it to castrate that goat? I'm sorry, it took 2 shots? She killed a puppy for being excited and having the best day of her life, having the time of her life chasing the birds. Killed that puppy and then was like, you know what? That felt good. Let me go grab that goat that kind of pisses me off and gets my kids' clothes dirty and smells bad. And is kind of a menace because I never took it to the vet to get it castrated. Let me take that goat and also kill it. And then she dragged it to a gravel pit, shot it once. It didn't die. So then she went to her car to grab another shotgun shell and shot it again. And then she noticed that there were construction workers who were watching her that just saw her kill both animals. And she felt really embarrassed. And then her kids came home from school. And because there are no criminal allegations against her, and because that's not technically a crime, or maybe it is, I don't know. But because she's less fucking insane than all the other cabinet nominees, she will probably get in. The lady who's going to be running the Department of Homeland Security is not only wildly unqualified, like literally left her people unguarded during a natural disaster and had no COVID mandates in the entire state for all of COVID because she believed in herd immunity. Literally doesn't care about the safety of the 5 people in North Dakota and is now in charge of caring about the 330 million people in the United States safety. Not only is she wildly unqualified, she's a murderous sociopath who killed a puppy and a goat in the same 5-hour period, probably less, with a shotgun. Can you imagine? I know I'm really going on this, but can you imagine you take your kid's puppy, 14 months old, named Cricket. What a sweet fucking name for a dog. And you take it out hunting, just on a school day. You go out pheasant hunting to go kill other shit. Then you get mad because your puppy was having so much fun that it ruined your pheasant hunt and didn't let you kill pheasants. So then you killed that dog. And then because you didn't get your murderous rage out on the pheasants because of the dog you just killed, you kill another goat. What the fuck are you talking about? And again, This isn't something that someone like uncovered in doing research on her or something that her neighbors said and were like, you wouldn't believe this about Kristi Noem. She wrote about this in her book proudly because she said, and I quote, she said she told the story about cricket in her book to show that in politics and life, she was willing to do what was difficult and messy and ugly if it was necessary. I'm sorry, but my takeaway was if you piss off Kristi Noem and stop her from killing other stuff, she will kill you. Like, I think what happened is she didn't get to kill the pheasants on the hunting trip, and then she saw her dog get to kill a couple chickens, and she got jealous, so she killed that fucking dog and then killed another goat to get out her murderous rage. That's my take anyway. So anyways, that fucking psycho is probably going to be the head of Homeland Security. So we're fucked. We're fucked. Wow, I just thought about Kamala's Easter eggs again, and I was like, should we get into that? Because the girly pops are going to be curious. And I was immediately exhausted because I'm fed up. I'm done with Kamala. I'm done with her. Not that I'm done having hope. Not that I'm done supporting her. But like, I'm done with her fuck shit and bullshit because it makes absolutely no sense. If you're doing something and you want to do it quietly, do it quietly. Don't make us feel insane. Don't have us hold on to hope in the most psychotic way. Don't put random bold numbers in your emails for fundraising for a thing that we still don't know what it is. And you're flooding our fucking email inboxes with it, asking for money the week before Black Friday when our budgets are already tight. Literally, rent is due in 2 weeks and Black Friday is next week. And Thanksgiving, and people are booking flights home to see their families that they're already going to fight with, and you want us to give you money for some mystery cause that we don't know what the fuck it is. First of all, hold your horses. No. Absolutely not. Then she puts in the subject line of this email just these random numbers in bold. I think it was like 239 or 263 or something like that. And then some fucking psycho, who is clearly a Swiftie, God bless you, was like, oh, let me check her book, and then checked her book, and it's like several pages on election interference and how it keeps her up at night. And then she did this whole thing with like 4 sentences where she said like, we've appreciated your support so far, but we just need 4 more sentences. And then she sent another email where the subject line was just 4 sentences. And then that day she posted an Instagram post where the caption was 4 sentences. Like, it's supposed to mean something. And then I just saw this TikTok of a girl who like she was talking to her husband about it. And he's like not a conspiracy theory person and not on like witch talk and astrology girly talk and like conspiracy Kamala, please save us and give us hope talk. And he was like, oh, your Miranda rights. She's referring to the 4 sentences that are your Miranda rights. And I'm like, who the fuck is supposed to put all this together? First of all. Second of all, why? Why are you doing this to us? You're making us feel fucking insane. You're making us feel insane. And it's like, we get it. You have a Gen Z PR team. We get it. We saw your TikTok during the campaign. But here's the thing. Taylor Swift can get our money for her concerts and album drops by doing Easter eggs because she uses that to build anticipation, and then she gives us a product that we give her money for. You are asking for our money by tricking us and making us confused and stressed out and anxious, and giving us hope, but we have no idea when we're going to find out the payoff. And so we're not going to give you money yet because you've not released a product other than anxiety. Okay, Kamala, if you're listening to this, get it together. Quit it with the Easter eggs, or tell us what the fuck is going on. Because here's the thing. Everyone's like, she's moving in silence. She's moving in silence. They need to collect all the evidence. Now everyone's like, she's in Hawaii. Do you know what's in Hawaii? The NSA headquarters, the Department of Homeland Security headquarters, which why the fuck are those in Hawaii? First of all, shouldn't all of that be in DC? Or are they putting it somewhere else so it's safe? I don't know. I haven't independently fact checked that. I just saw a screenshot of a Google search on TikTok. I'm not going to act like I fucking have sources on that because I'm exhausted and I don't care anymore. I've reached my brink. I am at full capacity. I can't do it anymore. I'm tired. But like now there's the whole conspiracy of like, what's she doing in Hawaii? Bitch, how do you know she's in Hawaii? Do you have TMZ and the paparazzi following her? Why the fuck do you know who's saying she's in Hawaii? Who knows if she's in Hawaii? Who? Like I feel like a little owl, like the little Tootsie Pop, like 1, 2, 3. Anyways, anyone remember those Tootsie Pop commercials? How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? We did that in a science experiment in elementary school. It took me 326 licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. And now that I'm an adult, I'm like, oh, was that sexual harassment? I don't know. Our teacher was a very nice old lady, so I'm going to say no, but it was a weird science experiment to be doing in the 3rd or 4th grade. Just saying. But if she is really moving in silence and collecting all this evidence because they need a airtight case to blah, 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 whatever the fuck. And yes, it's only been 2 weeks, which for a federal investigation, that's very, very fast. Federal investigations take years and they don't really act until they have all of their shit. I get it. I was a white collar criminal attorney. I understand. And, you know, thank God we're going through the NSA and the Department of Homeland Security because the DOJ is a fucking mess and they're a bunch of lazy bitches, as is the SEC. Fuck both of them. That was like a real life-shattering dream moment when I went up against the SEC and the DOJ and I was like, oh, you guys are just useless dicks and you're so lazy. Like we'll put a pin in that and why James Comey hates women, and we will come back to the fact that the DOJ is a bunch of lazy bitches, as is the SEC, as evidenced by the Martha Stewart documentary. If anyone was wondering why she went away for false statement, we'll get into that. And I did call it halfway through the documentary. And then minutes later, they were like, yes, it was for false statement. We'll get into that. But I'm glad we're doing it with the NSA. That seems good. I get it. But if you are moving in silence, then move in silence. Let us grieve. Let us move on. Let us have peace. Get rid of this anxiety and let us live our lives, rather than dangling this hope and mystery in front of us, making us speak in code on TikTok like lunatics, trying to exchange hope with one another. Just stop. You can just let us grieve, and then we'll be in despair and we'll have accepted this dim, dark reality, because you're not getting fundraising money right now. No one's giving you money because we're all fucking pissed off because we're like, what the fuck is going on? What is this money for? So, and also, bitch, you could raise the money in one day. If you literally went on TikTok, once you're ready to reveal this investigation, do a recount, you would raise the money in one day. So fucking relax. Like literally one day is all it would take for you to raise $150 million. Facts. Would put money down on that. More money than I'm willing to donate right now. But it's like, you're not getting anything by toying with us like this. Just let us grieve. Let us live. Let us take care of ourselves and deal with all the fuckery going on the internet and in the stars right now. And with Trump, because Trump is not even president yet, and it's fucking more exhausting than when he was in office the first time. And he hasn't even started tweeting, as far as I'm aware. Thank God we're all moving to Blue Sky Social. Not that I was on Twitter in the first place, but I digress. But it's just like, if you're going to move in silence, fucking move in silence. Stop torturing us. Stop. It's not fun. It's not cool. It's not funny. I know I talked about this last time, but it's still pissing me off. It's still pissing me off because it's just like, what are you doing other than making us look fucking crazy? Because she's not giving me hope right now. I'm exhausted. I found out aliens were real last week, and that was not the biggest piece of news in my week. I forgot. I was preparing for this episode and talking about all the crazy shit that's going on, and I made it like 2 pages in before I even remembered aliens are real. Because who cares? Because apparently they done been here. They've been here and they didn't do shit. So what the fuck do I care about aliens now? Oh, they stopped us from nuking each other? Congratulations. So did the principle of mutually assured destruction. You guys did so much. Sorry, aliens, not to be mean, but like we had a lot of faith in you guys and you have sadly let us down. I hate to say it, but we really thought the aliens were going to do something. Really thought shit was going to change when the aliens came around, and now I just think Donald Trump's the Antichrist and it's the end of times. So things are going great, and I need Kamala to take it easy on me. You know, it's like, if you're going to give us a clue, give us a more direct clue. Granted, if these are valid Easter eggs, they're really clever. I will give you credit for that. But guess what? We're not getting points for clever right now. Okay? Like, if the 4 sentences is the Miranda rights, sick. If that was a reference to her book, dope. Apparently, she was also sending different numbers to different people that reference different things. And it's just like, why are you doing this to us? Why are you doing this to us? Like, what did we ever do wrong to you? This is only, and it's like, I know a lot of white women didn't vote for her, but this is like, I'm talking about the women who did vote for her. We righted and died it for you. We rode and doed. And here you are just toying with our emotions. Somebody in my TikTok comments was like, she just posted a video of her hair in a bun playing with her nieces. And it's like, we don't give a fuck about your nieces, Kamala. Get it together and save America. And I'm like, yeah. You know what pisses me off? Like, we found out about the aliens and everyone's like, the government's trying to distract us, or like the Senate's like, we just want the American people to know. And like, they're stepping up against recess appointments. And it's like, oh my God, our representatives are doing something that matters to us or like that protects us. And then, you know, they really push for the Matt Gaetz report to come out. And we're like, oh my God, the Senate's doing something. No, they're not. It's not for us. If you look at the thread between all of those things, it's that somebody was trying to take something from the Senate. Like the Senate found out that the Pentagon was keeping information from them and they're like, bitch, you're going to tell us. They found out that the House Ethics Committee was like keeping a report for them and they wanted the juicy tea. So they're like, fucking give it to us. They found out that Donald Trump wanted to take their appointment power, which is like their one big flex for the year or for the presidency. And they were like, fuck you, we're not doing it. And I'm just like, they don't give a fuck about us. It's just about their power, which maybe that's the way to manipulate the Senate into doing whatever he wanted. Like, I know that's supposed to theoretically be done in a representative democracy through our votes. Is like our vote is like a threat to their power that will keep them in line. But clearly that's not it. But maybe we just need to like start pointing out like on a big level, like all of the ways Trump is going to cuck them and how it's really embarrassing for them. And maybe that'll get them to act up because they seem to have nothing going for them but pride and vanity and a sick desire for power and money. So maybe like that's what we need to play to. Speaking of which, Trumpers, what are we going to do about them? Last time I talked about how like I'm really struggling with how to deal with Trumpers because people move towards where the love is, et cetera, but I don't want them on my team at the moment because I'm mad. Rightfully so. We have every right to be angry right now. And I thought about it. And right now we're all getting really divisive and we're like getting mad at the Trumpers, blah, 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 which like is valid because this is a matter of moral principle. But also if you look at the literacy rates in America, they can't read a lot of the critical articles that are written at like, you know, a very high level. So it's not their fault that they're just digesting the information given to them. And if you think about the idea of like being like functionally illiterate, having a third grade reading level as an adult, that's really embarrassing, really difficult to your ego. You're probably not going to remediate that. And so you're just going to believe what people tell you. That's fair. If you have a limited capacity for reading, you also probably have a limited capacity for critical thinking. So we should have grace for those people because it's not their fault. Like they're not just like inherently dumb, like they were born idiots. Their education system failed them and it was by design, you know, like they defunded education in those states to make them less educated, to make them less good at critical thinking, indoctrinating them with religion, particularly with certain denominations of Christianity and Catholicism. I get that there's not denominations of Catholicism, but you know what I mean? Especially with Catholicism and different denominations of Christianity that don't encourage reading the religious text. So you're just told to like listen to what you're told and not question things. Like all of this indoctrination is to concentrate power with, you know, whoever wants the power. Okay, so we should have grace for those people for being quote unquote dumb. We don't have to do it right now. We don't have to do it right now. Right now we can just be pissed off. Are my nails dirty? I can't tell. I think it's just my nails growing out. Excuse me. Don't know why I just showed you that. It was really embarrassing for no reason. But we should have some grace for those people. We should have empathy for those people. We don't have to welcome them in right now. We need to look out for our own and take care of ourselves. However, maybe we should chill on the vilifying them because that's just pushing them further to the right. What we should do instead is cause violence in a different way. As Girly Pops, we are going to engage in our first psyops, which is rather than putting down the right, we're going to rip them apart. We are going to get them to fight with each other. I don't know how yet. I will brainstorm and I will get back to you. The first one I have is that we make fake Republican profiles on social media and then we go to Republican posts and we only follow Republican accounts, and emotionally will be very difficult. So we should only do this 1 hour a day, but we just like post questions. Like if they're talking about Matt Gaetz, it's like, you know, they're like, oh, he stepped down, this is bad. Or like, they won't confirm Linda McMahon, this is bad. And you just ask questions like, wait, I thought we were the party that protected the children. Didn't they hurt children? I'm confused. And then engage in dialect that way. Like do the dumb girl thing. Like, you know, when you want a boy to just do everything for you and tell you stuff, you just act like you're dumb and you don't know. Or you want to get in an argument, you want them to make something their idea. So you just ask questions like, I'm just a dumb girl. I thought we were for the children. And they'll be like, yeah, but she did this. And they'll be like, but didn't she help that one guy molest all those boys? I thought that's what we were accusing the Democrats of. And then they'll be like, whoa, critical thinking? I don't know. And you're just like, you're not fighting with them. You're just like, I'm a dumb girl. And if they come at you, be like, hey, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to upset you. I'm just genuinely confused. I was hoping you could help me out. And if we do that enough, maybe enough people will engage in intellectual discourse with someone that they think is on their side. And then anyone who disagrees with them, they'll fight with each other. And then we can change their minds from the inside. And so, yes, that's not tearing them apart yet, but it is tearing them away from their false idols. And then in terms of getting them to fight, I don't know, maybe we pose as boys and just start saying mean no, see, I don't like that. I was going to say we pose as Republican boys and just say mean, because they don't need real profiles. They all have 0 videos and not a real picture and just follow 1,000 accounts. So it would be so easy to make those fake profiles and they're all private and no one would suspect. And I was saying you could comment on girls' pictures and say mean, like Republican girls, and just make them hate Republican men by saying mean stuff. But we don't do mean stuff to girls, even when we want to. We don't do that. Not here. Even the girls who we think quote unquote deserve it, we are not mean to them because we're nice to the girls. If you want to be, that's your call. I don't condone it, but you can do whatever you want because I still believe in your autonomy and control over your own body and life. So do whatever you want. I like my first idea of like asking them critical questions, but in a way that just like, I'm just a girl. I'm so dumb. Can you explain this to me? Like how we were the party for the children, but we're putting in so many people who assault minors or facilitate it into Trump's cabinet. I think that would be really good. But if you guys can brainstorm a psyops of how to turn the Republican men against each other, because there are distinct camps, right? Like the red pill men, the incel men, there's some overlap, but red pill men are mostly like workout guys who listen to Joe Rogan. Incel men are like, incel men. And then there's just like the straight up racists. And then there's like the DL men who are really anti-trans and really homophobic because they think they're going to try to fuck them. There are enough distinct groups that I think we could cause them to faction off and fight with each other and rip apart the Republican Party from the inside out. Now, do I know how to do that yet? No. Am I asking you guys to help me? Yes. Do you guys want to brainstorm in the comments? Hopefully. I think that would be really, really helpful. Perhaps I can put together a guide, a compendium of ideas, if you will. And I think that would be really beneficial to all of us. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Let me know. Okay. What was the thing I said I was going to come back to? Oh, how the SEC and the DOJ are a bunch of bitches. Okay, so did you guys watch the Martha Stewart documentary? If you haven't, pause this, go watch that, come back or don't come back. Honestly, you might get distracted and that's okay. And I still love you and I appreciate you for joining us for even part of this. That's so fine. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Sorry, I think plugs are so cringe. Anyways, probably will have to get over that if I want to build a business someday, but not today. I'm just here for the girly pops. Okay, so we all know Martha Stewart went to prison for insider trading, but no, she didn't. That was the charge. Then they decided they didn't have enough evidence for that, which is something that the DOJ and the SEC often do. They just care about grabbing sexy headlines. So they find something very politically charged or that the society or like that the culture would be interested in. They file some very scathing allegations that literally they call it sexy. They pull things that look sexy in the headlines and they will bring the charge, regardless of if they have enough evidence. And 9 times out of 10, they will use a statute called 1001, which is false statement. It is a crime to submit a false statement, either verbally or in writing, to a federal agent. So what they will do is they will interview you 1,050 times in confusing ways, and they will catch you in what they believe to be a lie. And even if you didn't commit the crime, they already got the sexy headline, so now they need to put you away for something, like Martha Stewart went away for insider trading, when really she just told a lie. And really it wasn't even a lie, it was a misleading statement. And then they bullied her like lifelong friend into turning on Martha and saying like, that bitch lied. That's literally why Martha Stewart went to jail. That's why she was banned from being CEO from her companies for 5 years. That's why she had to build back better her whole career, because James Comey, who was the U.S. attorney who prosecuted her, hates women. Because he saw a powerful woman, the first female self-made billionaire, and was like, fuck her. We are going to take her down because fuck her. Because fuck her. Literally, that was it. And I think the amount of money that was like at stake in the insider trading thing, even if she did it, was like $46,000, which if you know anything about the SEC, that's chump change. Literally chump change. And they were like, let's just get her. And then they couldn't get her on that. So they were like, false statement, which I had a client who they got him on false statement or tried to. Did leave the firm before that case was resolved, so who knows. But basically, he like didn't speak English, had a 3rd grade reading level, and I can't say too many details, you might be able to figure out who it is. He was like a fairly famous person, and he was in an interview and they said a question confusing and he answered one way. And then later on in the interview, he tried to clarify and they said because he had to clarify, he was correcting something, which means he lied earlier. And they tried to send him to jail for that. So the SEC and the DOJ are fucking jokes, which is why it kind of makes sense that Matt Gaetz would be in charge of it because they're a bunch of fucking clowns. Sorry, government, if you're listening, please don't arrest me. I love you, but your U.S. attorneys have gotten a little bit lazy. I respect you as an institution. I'm a big fan of the American legal system. And I just think that, sorry, it's hard to say with a straight face. I'm a big fan of the institutions of this country. That is true. Major supporter, huge actual patriot, not somebody who says they're a patriot and then tries to overthrow the government. Actually love America at its core because thank God I'm not in India anymore because life there would be way worse. But your U.S. attorneys have gotten pretty lazy. So let's work on that. Anyways, but James Comey hating women. So he went after Martha Stewart because she was a powerful woman. Shocker. An insecure, medium, ugly man was upset that there was a powerful woman who didn't need no man, who was thriving. And he was like, let's take this bitch down. Now, James Comey, that name might sound familiar to you. That is the guy who opened up the whole Hillary Clinton emails case a couple weeks before the election and likely changed the course of American history because he didn't want Hillary Clinton to be president, which ultimately in that case, they found no evidence of the stuff that they accused her of, but then it became a runaway narrative and it didn't really matter. And it probably cost her the election and is why we're still dealing with Donald Trump 8 years later because he hates women. He just makes baseless accusations against them, slanders them, ruins their career to all of our detriment. So fuck you, James Comey. I'm also convinced we timeline jumped because I am convinced that James Comey was not his name. When I first heard it, I was like, oh, is that Comey's brother? I can't remember what I think Comey's name is. I feel like it started with an S, but I can't think of a name. But I'm like, I was on another timeline where this Comey guy looked different and had a different name. So I don't know if you guys are on TikTok and you saw my Manscaped debacle, but I'm convinced I'm losing my mind. I've owned a Manscaped for like 3 years. Manscaped, what I thought was a 3.0. My email says it's 3.0. Now I'm seeing it looks like the 4.0. That's confusing. And I've convinced it had a charging port on it for years. Sorry if this is boring. You can fast forward 2 minutes. I'll have chapters. Don't have to end the episode, but just skip ahead. I just have to say this because I feel like I'm losing my mind. It had a charging dock and a USB-C charging port. It was dead one day. I went to go charge it like anything normal, grabbed my USB-C cord, went to plug it in. There's no USB-C port. There's not. And I know that there was because I don't even know where the motherfucking charging dock is because why would I use a charging dock? I am so lazy and unorganized as a general principle, especially in the wintertime. I would have lost it. I don't know the last time I saw that thing and I know I've used it. So anyways, and my friend was like, well, maybe someone switched it out. And I'm like, no, I don't. I live with my parents. And my parents are fancy and aren't going to use a motherfucking Manscaped that they got with a coupon code from a fucking podcast to like shave their face. Like that's not a thing. It's mine. I'm the only one who has it. My ex-boyfriend, people were like, oh, maybe this is the revenge series. Your ex-boyfriend fucking did something. And I'm like, you mean the one who I moved towns to get away from, who doesn't know that I'm living with my parents or even know my parents' address? You're telling me he tracked down my address, broke into my parents' house, which by the way, there's always someone home pretty much. And then he ahead of time knew what Manscaped brand I used, even though we always went to his house and he never came to my apartment because he was a dick and thought my apartment wasn't nice enough. Why did I date him? I don't know. And so he knew what Manscaped I used and then bought a different one and switched them out, but also made the new one look kind of used and old just to mess with me and then got out of my house undetected. And touched nothing else? Like, are you fucking insane? And people were trying to come up with all sort of rationalizations because it doesn't make sense that like timeline jumping sounds insane. I don't think that's real, but I don't have another explanation. So it's either that it had a charging port and no longer does, or equally troubling, I fabricated 3 years worth of memories of using this Manscaped with a USB-C charger and none of that ever existed or happened. Which, by the way, if that's the case, wouldn't I have the charging dock somewhere? I don't know where the fuck that is. I think I threw it away. I feel insane because I either fabricated this very minute memory to the point where it was muscle memory, like the thing died while I was using it to trim my bush, which is another tragedy of all of this that I have not discussed enough because it feels a little TMI, but I was halfway done and it died and it is still dead and I have yet to buy a new one. Luckily, I'm not dating right now, but for my own sake, it's a little bit unsettling what things look like down there right now. So I don't love that for me. It's like a little bit frustrating. But anyways, it died in the middle of me using it and I immediately went to go charge it as I would normally do, was complete muscle memory, and I went to charge it and it wasn't there. So I fabricated a memory of something so minor and ingrained it so deeply that going to charge it that way, which apparently I had never done before because it was never a thing, was a reflex. Do you understand how that's somehow more insane than jumping timelines? Like, that means I'm mentally ill in a brand that I didn't know I was, because I know I'm mentally ill, just didn't think I had dementia. Do I have early onset dementia? Is this what happens? And then some girls in my TikTok comments were like, oh, this happens more and more as you get older. And I'm like, is that dementia? Or are you just saying as feminine magic gets stronger, we're jumping timelines? What does that mean? And I really needed this video to go viral, not for like posterity, but so someone could tell me what was going on. And it did really terribly on TikTok. And ultimately I deleted it because I also looked really ugly in it because for some reason I didn't record it in Instagram with the filter that I like that normally makes me look pretty. And so I took it down and I got no answers and I feel insane. And that's today. Do you think the aliens did it? Maybe there's a third option. Maybe I didn't jump timelines and maybe I don't have dementia. Maybe the aliens did it to like let me know that they're here. Or to make me stop talking shit because I have been calling them assholes because all that they've been doing in the time that they've been here with technology more advanced than any of us can ever comprehend is fucking with military aircraft, which like who does that but like boys, dickhead boys. So maybe they were punishing me for that. I don't know. So anyways, thank you if you listen for putting up with that and tolerating me through that. If you have any ideas what happened on Manscaped, let me know. And for those of you who skipped ahead in the chapters, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for jumping ahead instead of just bailing on me. I appreciate that. I just really needed to get that off my chest because I feel motherfucking insane. Okay. Oh, one last thing. Before we wrap up today's episode, I have one piece of really great news that I think is going to make you guys really happy. Hold on just one sec. So I just started reading a new book and I think you're really going to like it. Before you start saying, Ishpal, I'm an illiterate bitch, I can't read, I've never read a book in my life, or it's been many, many years, relax. That's probably because you've been reading boring as shit books that are hard to read for no fucking reason. And this is not that, okay? It is a revenge series, okay? Get excited. I actually don't know if it's a series. It might just be one singular book, but bear with me. I don't have a promo code. I make no money off of this. I just think it's a great recommendation. So it's called This Girl's a Killer, and it's about this girl named Cordelia Black. Don't love the name Cordelia, but Cordelia Black definitely has a ring to it. And she's like this fabulous high fashion girly. And she's like a total girl's girl and is a ride or die for her best friend and her best friend's daughter, who's like the light of her life. She's the best auntie in the world. And in her free time, she tracks down bad men, typically sexual predators, drugs their drinks, kidnaps them, ties them up in her storage space, tortures them, and then kills them. And I think that is pretty fucking fantastic in today's political climate. It's a book by a girl's girl for a girl's girl. And I'm just going to read you a couple of like the little quotes on the book to give you an idea of the vibe. Cordelia Black is the ultimate girl's girl. And as far as I'm concerned, she's never done anything wrong ever in her whole life. All hail the new queen of the good for her genre. Which I didn't know that's a genre. I'm officially, after I read this book, looking that up and only reading the good for her genre for literally the rest of my life. Ooh, should we start a book club called Good for Her? And like every week we all read a chapter and then I talk about the chapter in the video and then you guys comment down below. We like get into a little dish sesh, or we could do like a Patreon for like $1 or $2 a month so we can keep the boys out behind a paywall. We could have a big Zoom chat where we each read a chapter a week, maybe every other week because life is hard. And then we could all dish about the book. Who's interested? Let me know. And then the other quote is utterly obsessed and ready to support all of Cordelia's wrongs. That one's not as good, but basically it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, she did fucked up shit and she should have done all of it and maybe even probably more. And I love her. So even though the world's on fire and everything's hellish, this book is great. It's such an easy read. The font is big. The font is pretty big. Good line spacing. Easy read. Page turner. And it's not too complicated, so you can like put it down and pick it up 7 days later and you still know what's going on. Highly recommend. You can also probably, I would guess, get it on Libby. Maybe if it is at your local library, that's a free place to get it. So that is my book recommendation for the week. That is the episode. As always, take care of yourselves. These are difficult times. You need to rest, take showers, take walks outside with a friend where you can scream, take long showers where you can cry and no one can see you. Rest, take naps, go to bed on time, put your phone away, which I'm really bad at, but I am noticing how much it's draining my energy. So try to get off your phone, do a face mask, get your nails done, eat some food, have some pasta, get some ice cream, have some salt and straw, get yourself a double scoop. It's been a hard week and you deserve it. And because we have a long fight ahead of us. No matter how things turn out, no matter what the fuck Kamala's up to, there is a battle ahead. And even if Kamala does come back and take this, there is a lot in our society that we have to reckon with. And we need to be able to do that work on the ground because no one's going to do it for us. And we can't do that if we haven't felt our feelings and purged them and moved through them and dealt with them and healed from them. And if we aren't well rested. So take care of yourselves. I love you. And I will see you next week.